All right, I'll be honest. I didn't catch a lot of the male heat for
just
event 5. I'm just saying.
We're live. I just wanted to tell you that before you say something crazy. Bam, we're live.
Didn't say anything crazy.
You didn't catch what?
I didn't catch a lot of the male heat for event 5 because I was plugging together my Catrin David's daughter thing.
I just like it when you say
not a good
plugging.
excuse.
Guys, I'm gonna start the show with something that's off topic, but who cares? It's my show, and those of you who follow the show know that I'm always all over the place. I've been on my Instagram. I've been taking some jabs at Europe and Canada and Australia for, I don't know, 2 years now. Love you guys. Just fucking with you guys. Everyone take a chill. But I want to tell you something that you guys have confused over there that 3 people brought up to me today. You guys talk about universal health care and how great your countries are because you have health care for everyone. You have to understand something. There's different ways to think about stuff. And when the media gives you a way to think about something and you get stuck thinking about it, you're blind. And I'm going to explain it to you like this. And some of you are going to be really excited. And if you're European or Canadian or Australian, don't feel bad. Most Americans don't understand this either. They're tricked also. It's just word trickery. It's just word fuckery. It happens to all of us. Okay. In this country, prior to Obamacare, everyone in this country had free health care. Well, not free. It's not free, but everyone had health care. Our hospitals in the United States will never turn anyone away. We had health care for everyone and anyone. We had what you guys call universal health care, and we had it for everyone. Those of us, we have nothing. They call it health insurance that those of us have, but it's not health insurance. It's a misnomer. They've tricked you into thinking of the world like that in the United States. And most of the citizens in the United States have fallen for it too. And you guys have fallen for it too. No one in this country has health insurance. What they have is asset protection insurance. All of our health care has always been provided for all of the citizens in this country at no cost to them. But when you own a home, you have to get health insurance. They call it health insurance. It's not really health insurance, to protect your assets, because that way, if you have a hospital bill that's like $50,000, they won't take your home from you. You understand what I'm saying? It's a misnomer. It's not health insurance. It's asset protection insurance. And because you believe what the news tells you and how they word things, you think that's the way it works. But it's only recently, with the advent of something that they called Obamacare, that poor people started having to pay for insurance. Now, if you don't have health insurance, poor people are you're now fined at the end of the year by your taxes. But it used to be free for everyone. You have to know that. It was free for everyone in this country, and it always has been. And just people who own homes, we would get health insurance. That way, like if we got in a car accident and the bill was going to be $3 million for a new lung, we wouldn't have to put a lien against our house. We had insurance we had asset protection insurance. That's all it is. It's a complete misunderstanding to call it health insurance. But you fall for it, or you fall for this stuff because you listen to the news and you listen to how they word stuff. But I just want to let you know, three of you from Europe and Canada and Australia have been using that as an argument. No one gets turned away in this country. It's only recently that the liberals have made it that poor people have to pay health insurance. Up until then, it was free for everyone. Okay. Now we've established it. You got a little lesson. It's not health insurance. It's asset protection insurance. Understand? Everyone? Makes sense to you? Okay.
I don't get it. You have to do that all over again.
All right, Atlas Games.
No. I got to understand before we talk about the Atlas Games. I'm stuck.
He's trying to prove asbestos poisoning in the court of law.
I will just come in hot here and just say that you guys are wrong about the stepping over the barbell.
It's so fucking dumb. We're not.
No, it's not dumb. It's not dumm.
It's stupid.
Why is it not dumb?
Tell us
why it's not dumb.
You probably think jumping pull-ups are dumb too. You probably
I
think
love jumping.
Because you call it scaling, but it's not scaling.
No.
It's a different stimulus. It's just a different stimulus.
Dude, I think step up pull-ups would be fucking dumb. If you just had to step up to another box to get your chin over the bar, that'd be dumb.
Just so everyone in the freaking comment section knows, in the world that's watching this right now, I see the step up burpees and I'm like, watching it, and the first thing I do is I shoot a text message. I'm like, guys, I'm so fucking pissed off about these. And I guarantee you what Sevan did is he goes, I'm going to say that they're not dumb just so I get them all pissed off. He thinks they're dumb. I know he thinks they're actually dumb. Why are they not dumb? You haven't said anything yet.
No, I just told you it's a different stimulus. You guys are being tricked. There's people in the comments say it's scaling. And
what's the stimulus?
What's the stimulus?
Unfit?
Move backwards, get worse.
Listen, I'll tell you what it is. The jumping doesn't change the workout that much, and what it does is it fixes the judging problem completely. Now the judges only have to worry about the person getting on the other side of the bar.
You know whose fault that is?
Who's?
CrossFit's fault.
I disagree.
The 2-foot jump. They're like, you can do this, you can do that, you can kind of jump. They're moving the wrong way.
Yeah. Here's the other thing. You think
they're dumbing it down? You think they're going to the lowest common denominator instead of fixing the problem?
I think the problem wasn't really the jump over the burpee, because how close one foot was to the other to leaving at the same time is not as egregious as your fucking chest not hitting the floor.
Oh, okay. So, JR, do you want to weigh in on this thing, the step over? Do you have a problem with it?
I would first like to weigh in on the room that I'm in, because everyone seems to
keep moving.
So hold on one second.
The monster sign was there.
Hey, it's because he didn't pay for his health insurance, people.
He's in a local penitentiary, everybody.
What is this?
Wow.
He's at a zoo.
Red Rhino.
What is that? Do you rub that to get your T count up? What the hell is that?
Do you guys know? Do you know what a herd of rhinos is called?
No.
It's called a crash.
A crash.
Hey, look what Casual Center is.
So that's where CrossFit Crash came from. I am not in a bathroom. I am in the lobby. All right.
Of what? The lobby of what?
Of my gym.
Nice. You have a lobby.
Wow.
And I was in the kids' room, but some children came in there, so I left.
Someone said JR got a rhino in his toilet.
I would like to just say that me and Jason and we're training, and I showed him the video of people doing step overs, and I said, I don't care if you're allowed to do it. If you do it, I will never let you back into the gym.
If you step over, who will you never let back in the gym if they step over? If they do that,
dumb.
Jason.
Oh, because he was stepping over.
No, just because I think it's silly.
Okay,
it's very aesthetically pleasing.
But what about I can maybe understand in your gym setting. Let's say. I'm like, okay, fine, you guys win. I'm not, okay. I'll back off that one.
It looks fucking ridiculous.
I don't know.
So bad.
You turn on the Fittest on Earth competition and you see this after.
It's like watching the Olympics.
Every once in a while, it's like you click on.
Yeah,
walking the Olympics. You click on, you turn it off. You're like, they're walking for speed. Like, what?
That's exactly what it looks like.
Okay, let's move.
Curling is kind of comical. You want to move on? I'm not ready to move on. 6 years ago, you turn on ESPN and you see these badasses doing all this crazy shit. And this year, it's like, you know what? There's this live stream I'm going to click on. And you see them like walking around a barbell. It's like, okay, I'm going to turn that off.
Yeah, they're doing med ball GHDs in the fucking desert of California. And now they're stepping over a bar. My mom does that my mom doesn't even do that. My fucking 62-year-old mom jumps over the bar.
That's not safe.
You're saying it was a safety issue.
Let's talk. No, I'm just saying I don't have a problem with it like you guys do. I think it's great. I think what it did is it fixed the judging problem, and you guys can't be happy. You guys cannot be happy.
That's not but here's the thing. They created.
And I'm sorry to attack your character. I know it's not. It's unbecoming of me. I apologize.
I get what you're saying, but I also think that the feet leaving the ground at the same time or a little bit different was never that big of a judging problem. I think when they. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of
the first time it was a problem was 18.2.
When it was Emma McQuaid.
I think it was that 10-1, and then they did the heavy squat clean afterwards, and everyone was trying to rifle through those burpees. And you would click on the internet, you'd see people posting their burpees, and everyone was doing that like shuffle jump. It's like, are their feet really taking off 2 at a time? And I think that was the advent of everybody trying to not 2-foot take off, 2-foot land, and it's gone backwards slowly since then.
Yeah, but even if you watch those videos, it's not like that. That's like
he's excuse me, he's shirtless. All right.
Excuse me.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is I think the worm burpees are way worse.
Hopper, is that true that you step over the bar in when you do a bar? Okay, buddy.
Yeah,
Thank you. Fucking hairless cat. Let's talk about the chest. Let's talk about the chest touching the ground. At first, I wanted to ding Catrin for that, but it's so hard to tell.
I slowed it down and made a little post about it if you want to check that out.
Okay,
Yeah,
can we see that, Caleb?
It's kind of annoying because I put in all these little clips, but it's also funny because I put in all these little clips.
Wait, before you start, I want to ask, do you think it's hard to tell, Taylor?
I thought it was pretty obvious that her chest was not touching the ground.
JR, did you think it was obvious?
I can't say that it was obvious.
Yeah, me neither. At first, I wanted to say it was, but then I just kept watching, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, real quick, before you started, I want to say something about the game of tennis. Sorry. One more thing. In the game of tennis, the line, there's no judges except when you get to the higher levels, and the line judge is the person whose side the ball comes onto. And if you're not 100% sure, it's of the call, you always give it to your opponent. Basically, if you're not 100% sure.
Okay.
So if you're not sure if it's in or out and it was close, it's in. It's in. Like or you're not paying attention and it goes over your head and it was even out by 6 feet, but you didn't see it. It's in. You just and because you have that consistency, as long as people are honest, it always works because it's just one thing. If the ball touches the line, it's good. If you're not sure, it's in. That's basically it.
So I work with a girl who plays pickleball. I work with a guy who plays racquetball, and I know people who play tennis. And when people cheat this, they're almost angrier than anyone I've ever met.
Yeah. Cheating runs rampant in that sport. They get
so pissed.
It's the biggest group of cheaters you ever seen, tennis players. But my point is that the policy that they have in place is bulletproof if people tell the truth. If you don't know, it's in.
At the end of my post too, I asked Catrin, I go, "Did you feel your chest touching the ground?" So it kind of parallels what you're saying right there. Like,
I just wish we had something like that in CrossFit, so we could just be like, "Hey, if we don't know, we default to the athlete."
Bruce said something like this in the comments. I think he said, "If you have to slow it down, you have to give it to the athlete. Like if you have to slow the video down, then you just give the rep to the athlete."
What about the NFL though?
That's very good. That was my counter argument in my head when I had the argument in my head. I said, "Well, what about the NFL? Soccer's doing the same thing now. Like baseball's doing it now." So,
define chest. Because if chest is rib cages down here, then I guess you can give them to her. If chest is like chest.
Okay, let's watch. I know that's the thing. Let's watch. You made Hiller feel bad because he slowed it down.
Yeah, I slowed it all down.
That was a no rep.
That was a no rep?
That was also a no rep.
I see. Maybe it's just an optical illusion. Maybe her chest is
no rep.
No.
God, you don't think the breast of some of the fatty titty of the lower part of the breast is touching the ground there? I mean, that's what we're talking about, right? Do her boobs do her boobs touch the ground? That's what we want to know.
No.
They look exactly like Spiegels. That's what they look like. This is one of the worst. Yep, that's the worst one of them all.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I mean, yeah,
the guy from Office Space is having a meltdown.
Yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, that one's my favorite.
I don't know. I'd need to see her do it topless to know. I can't tell.
Of course you would.
I can't tell. I can't tell. JR, do you have an opinion on this one?
I just think it's a shame that at this point, and you can't even program burpee box jump overs because it's me the same thing. I feel like it's you're gonna have to start doing hand release burpees.
Do you know where do you see? Yeah, I've seen that comment a lot. But do you see where the referees are? The judges are sitting. They're sitting in a position where it makes it challenging to see.
And I think that you're going to have to tell the judges they have to be on one knee, and then you're going to have to tell them they have to be doing this. But I mean, otherwise you can't see it.
Wad Zombie's got the other great point that you always hear, and this one's always hard to fucking fight back on. Watch Rich Froning Jr. do reps and win championships. There's no question with his reps. The fact that we have to wonder is bad. I don't know what that last sentence.
Taylor said a couple episodes back where he was talking about how he would watch Froning and he'd watch other people to try to dictate how he would want to do his movement based upon body types. But the thing that you learn after you watch all these people is that you know what good reps look like when they're doing them. It's like the burpee looks like that. So the first thing that makes you even look at Catrin is the fact that she's trying to gain some sort of advantage out of the technique that she's using. So once you see that she's doing them weird, you're like, okay. And then it draws your attention to the fact that she's not even doing them because she's not doing them the way that everyone who does them right does them wrestling in the first place.
And so just to be clear, the fact that you're saying that she does them differently, most of us who do burpees correctly, our whole body, like especially men, ideally, your body comes down perfectly at a plane parallel to the ground. Then as you get weaker and more tired, you start worming and your hips come and then your chest comes. But what we're seeing Catrin do is give this illusion that her chest hits first and then her fucking groin hits the ground.
Yeah,
it's kind of this, it's a trip. It's almost like you're watching burpees in reverse,
yeah,
right?
I was going to say, if you watch someone who's tired do burpees and they're worming, they're going in the exact opposite kind of
crotch first, then titties.
Exactly.
Okay.
But you can see the chest touch. It's like, boom, their chest touches and then they're coming up.
95% of people do it the right way, and then 5%, like the Catrins and the Danny Spiegels of the world, you notice it.
What about the fact that when I start getting tired doing burpees and I'm doing them for speed, I like having my chest hit because I kind of get a bounce. I slam myself down and get a little bit of a bounce.
Go watch Chandler Smith do burpees.
They look fucking good.
Yeah, his chest, it's like it's a trampoline.
So he does that too. He's bouncing off the bottom too.
Wrestlers do it really well. They hold a lot of tension in their midline, and when they hit the bottom of the burpee, it's just like a springboard.
I mean, the more rigid your body is, the better it transfers energy. I mean, that's kind of like just one of those universal truths that we just know in CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, okay. Well, since we're on Catrin, crazy impressed with her performance on her final workout, man. Just
here
amazing.
you go. This is great.
Oh, yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
Pop.
Yeah, that's rigid.
No question.
Yep.
He's a little spring man.
Do you guys like her final performance? The push on the thrusters. I mean, this is just classic Catrin, right? This is just classic classic CrossFit grind. No love.
I feel like I always talk first. I like wait for them to talk, and then there's this dead silence.
Well, I'm fired up about something that happened at Atlas Games, but we just gotta wait till we get there, I guess.
Is it in regards to her?
No, it's got nothing to do with Catrin. She was in strength and depth, dude.
Okay. They're just the same to me now at this point. This morning was such a fucking shit show in my brain, going back and forth between the events. What a fucking mess my brain got.
Yeah, that was not so great. Catrin and her finish, it's like, I guess you'd have just had to have done more on the rope climb. And of course they're going to make comments like, 8 years ago, she didn't even finish this workout. It's like, yeah, it's 8 years ago. She's also won the games 2 times since then. So,
okay, let's stay on her a little bit more then. Let me ask you this then. Event 5, the rope climb, it's what kept her out of going to the CrossFit Games in 2014. I think she went in 2013, then in 2014 at the regionals. That workout kept her out, and she still got 18th on it. Is this a problem?
She got 18th on another workout.
Oh, what place did she get in that one?
18th.
She has 2 18ths and an 11th.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're
out.
saying. I mean, this is a problem, right? This is like 8 years later, and you still. I mean, we saw Rich Froning couldn't climb the ropes, and he fixed it. This is a serious problem, right?
In my opinion, again, similar to the muscle up, I think maybe, and you have no idea whether it's coaching or what, but it would seem to me that she maybe believes that the legless thing is a capacity issue, but with how strong she is, it's not. It's a technique thing. And even in something like a legless rope climb, there's a lot of technique and how to efficiently use your body getting up the rope. And I just don't think she has had that's clicked for her. So yeah, either way, it's a big problem, but it's not like she just couldn't gain capacity over 8 years.
Do you see any major failure there, JR? Would you say it's failure in her coaching, failure in her, her training, and her failure in personal responsibility, accountability? I mean, do you think that this should have been fixed in 8 years?
Well, I refuse to believe that her and her coaches haven't known that they needed to address it since 2014. So I think the major issue here is that even if she is improving on it every single year, the amount that everyone else is improving on it is still a little bit greater. So she's always playing that game of catch up. So it's
okay, let's say this to defender.
It's always in comparison to the field.
Let's say this to defender too, really quick. If the time cap, I don't know what it was in 2014, was 10 minutes.
It was still 11. It was the same.
Okay, so then she improved her time by over 6 minutes. So I guess she's a fucking beast. All right.
I would also like to bring up, there's an old clip of Bergeron in one of the documentaries talking about how she did really bad at like a pegboard or maybe a legless.
She did one. Yep. The
yeah,
whole
she
year.
did one
peg.
peg. Yeah, so I guess she did really bad at pedal to the metal, right? She DNF, she didn't finish the workout. She still won the games. And there's a clip of Ben Bergeron bragging about how they only did one pegboard the whole year after she couldn't even fucking do any at the games, and like bragging about it.
Well, she won the games because she did that on that workout.
Well, no. I know what Taylor's saying too. Taylor's right. And then
No,
he went
it's
on
true.
to-
No, absolutely. It is true. He said, you know how many pegboards we've done since last year? One.
because all we did was strict pull-ups.
Brian, we were just talking about how what an amazing performance Catrin had. You just have to put it in context. In 2014, she couldn't finish the workout in 11 minutes, and now she did it in 5 minutes. And although it still wasn't enough to get her to the games, it is a massive improvement that should be recognized.
Yeah, I wrote about that. I don't think I've done the audio right here.
It's too bad too, because I really wanted to trash her, but there's no trashing.
No, but I also just wanted you to know I finished up with the Khaleesi, and now I've moved on to you, Sevan.
Oh, well, I understand the pecking order. I fully appreciate it. Feel free to walk away and use the bathroom or do whatever you need to do during this show.
How many views do they get?
Feeling better, Taylor. That's nice.
I'm not sure where Froning said it, and it might have not been Froning. It may have been his training partner at the time who said it, but they were going through a spree where they weren't so great at strict handstand push-ups, so they did them 3 days a week in various rep schemes with various movements. And you know what? Who do you think is one of the better people on the planet at strict handstand push-ups? It's going to be Rich Froning and whoever wanders through the barn. And then you've got Catrin, who does one pegboard in a year.
Or you hear Matt talk about rowing and how much he fucking rowed because he sucked at rowing.
Yeah. And those are the stories that, I wonder if Catrin has those stories about a rope climb.
Yeah, one a year. That's the story.
Brian, where do you go next? Get with the programming?
Oh, man, come on.
I got to go watch the Atlas games finish up and then cover that one.
I love Chase and Bill. They know that. We saw Jacqueline on the third climb. She was already pausing. And on the fourth climb, she started kipping. And on the one kip at the top. And on the seventh climb, she started using 2 kips to get to the top. Whereas Helga didn't start kipping until the 5th rope climb, and I never saw her use 2 kips. By 2 kips, I mean, when they start climbing and then they get stuck and then they start getting the kips in. So do you think any of these girls should? And whereas Catrin was kipping from the beginning, right? Which you could say the parallel is she was doing push jerks from the beginning. Never using the speed.
Who are you talking to?
Anyone.
I
All
really
right, Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb, what do you think about that?
I have no idea. I'm trying to do other things.
The interviewer at that event, Bibba daughter. Wow, she's weirder than me, and I approve. Just keep using her. I just like her. Did you guys like her? It was just so awkward and weird, and I'm like, fuck, I love that.
Is she like a new announcer?
I don't know. Or she's not even from this planet, dude.
They usually Lauren Smith would do the strength and depth, but her commitment with Red Bull this season interfered with when strength and depth was able to get that venue location. So Bibba was the next choice up. And I think she got more confident and comfortable as the weekend went along.
Yeah, I like her. As long as she seemed confident to me, but just weird shit was coming out of her mouth, and she speaks at a weird cadence. And I just like seeing the athletes like kind of just. I like Sam Briggs. Just doesn't even phase Sam, but the rest of them are kind of like, huh?
You know what I had the feeling of was that she was like applying either tone or the way she says things that's like funny in Icelandic, but not necessarily funny in other places. I think we can do that as being from the United States at times too, and where other countries are like, "What are you talking about?" And we're like, "Oh, that's funny where we're from." And some of them didn't go over that well with the athletes from all over Europe.
There was some stuff that was like lost in translation, I think. Just like
speaking of which, this guy Joel Godet, he has a personal story about everyone.
Yeah, because he calls the athletes and asks them, "What should we know about you?" He's
a beast.
When I left the Granite Games last week, and I told him, I said, "Your level of preparation for these things is unrivaled."
American Ninja Warrior.
Today, Brian Friend was in the public restroom at the airport, and he got a stall that had no toilet paper. I was just talking with Brian about that earlier in the break room.
So you don't like it?
I love it actually. I think it's cool. I think it's super cool. I like him. I'm like getting warm fuzzies from him. And I
hear
like
him talk those stories, and I do dislike greatly when people say they don't like him because they don't understand how hard it is to know those things, and he's actually trying really hard. And
yeah,
it's
he's
great.
killing it.
He's done a good job.
So and so's mom owns a candy shop. And they had to do they do handstand push-ups when they go grocery shopping with their mom. I was like, wow, fuck, he knows everything. So I approve of him and Joel and Bibba. I don't approve of O2. That stuff is not drinkable. I thought I heard Adrian Conway say he loves it. Have you guys ever drank that?
Yeah, I have this entire thing about those drinks.
So if they just carbonate your shit, I'll drink anything. I'll drink just a bucket of shit.
Is that what their shtick is? They carbonate
Sevan, you
it?
got some competition questions?
Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, yes.
Can we go?
Christoph, go ahead, Taylor.
No, I'm just so impatient.
Do it. Go, Taylor. Let's do it. Let's get to Atlas Games. What did you see over there that you want to talk about? Go ahead,
Brian. I want to ask if you saw the whole Jeff Adler GHD thing go down.
Oh, with Patrick Vellner. Describe it to us, Taylor.
So what I noticed is that Vellner gets to the GHD 4 reps ahead of Adler, or Adler begins his GHDs and Vellner's 4 reps ahead. At one point, Adler takes a long break, takes his shirt off. Vellner continues to go unbroken. And then around the 50 rep mark, Adler's judge's hand goes up, and it's a set of 100, not a set of 50. So he's going 5, 4, and then he shakes his head and puts his hand down. The judge does. And then you count maybe 20, 30 more reps. Adler takes another long break at top of his GHD, takes his feet out, and just sits on the pad. Vellner's continuing to go unbroken. Adler continues his reps, and then a minute later, they both get off the GHD at the exact same time. Like, it's like Vellner gets off the GHD, and Adler's judge is like, okay, go.
Yeah, the commentators were talking about it, too, that something was a little...
Have you gone back and counted the repetitions?
They didn't stay on him the whole time, so I couldn't count all the repetitions. And the other thing that really annoyed... Yeah.
And Adler won that event, right?
Yes.
And Vellner took third.
I think Adler, at best, without that, could have potentially still have beaten Pat. But you could see Pat's frustration when the judge threw their hand up on the GHD. Pat, like, you see on his face, he's like, "What the fuck?" And then he just keeps going. And then after Pat finishes his bike, he just is walking off the floor. He's like, you could just tell in his mind, he's thinking, "This is fucking bullshit." I don't know. Just to me, it seemed pretty crazy. And then Adler's interview after the workout, it just was a little frustrating too. But whatever.
What about it? Just that you think he should have said something like, "Hey, I got short. I didn't have to do all my GHDs."
I don't know if he should have said something, but they asked him where he thought the workout was won, and I think the announcer was like, "Did you win the workout on the GHDs?" And he like thought for a second. He's like, "No, I think I actually won it on the double unders. The workout went the way I wanted." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I don't always want to do all the reps either." That's what I thought. But
which is funny because I feel like everybody does double unders at the exact same rate. So it's like, I know that there are faster people who do. There are people who do double unders faster, but I feel like if you're going to make up a lot of time, it's on the GHDs essentially.
Yeah,
you're not going to make up that much time doing double unders.
I agree. I don't think you make up enough time doing double unders. There are workouts where that matters for sure, but I don't think this is one of them.
Taylor, I'm curious what you think is the solution to this problem, because you, as an athlete on a floor, I don't think you're allowed to appeal another athlete's score. And Jeff's obviously not going to appeal his own score.
Absolutely.
So if the judge lost count in the middle of that workout, and what should be done about it?
I brought this up on a previous show, and I didn't put a lot of thought into it, but I floated the idea of what if each athlete going into a competition had something like a challenge rule like they had in the NFL. You have one challenge you can use to appeal another person's score, and then, of course, you can appeal your own score. But once you use that challenge, it's done. And someone was like, "Oh, well, what if they just use it for a personal vendetta?" Well, you look in the NFL. A coach can challenge whatever he wants, but if he wastes it, he wastes it. So if you're using,
but if he gets it right, he gets another one.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. So
should gone be gone, or should you be able to get another one in your proposed format?
I think you should get one challenge. I don't think you should. You should, if you get your challenge right, you just get another one and then another one. But I think that if you give each person the challenge, I don't know, it potentially can keep things like this from happening.
Jake Kelly says, "Look at rep for rep, Mr. Self. Adler's GHD cadence is faster than Vellner's." He rolled his eyes at you, Jake. Sorry.
Yeah, you just
He rolled his eyes. And his eyes were closed, but I still saw them roll behind his eyelids.
He was going faster at the start, and he takes 2 enormous breaks, and Vellner didn't break in the GHDs. I don't know what else to say other than that.
Oh, so many. My notes are all over the place. How happy are we with Houday? Houday.
I think, look, you have Hapalainen, Houday, and Jorgos Karvis, all of whom are going back to the games for their second time. They had very different weekends, the three of them. Both Houday and Hapalainen had these kind of ups and downs that was ultimately good enough. And these are these guys that, I think we are going to see at the games that can, on certain events, can once again factor into those, top 5 or 7 spots, throw off the points a little bit. Ultimately, I think, 10th to 15th is going to be a good finish for these guys. I think this games field's pretty deep, but both of them looked pretty good. And I think Houday even said he was really bummed about that first workout, but after that, he was pretty steady. So overall impressive.
He surprised me a lot.
I'm impressed too. I was surprised too, especially in that last workout.
Yeah, he crushed
Willie
it.
George is the freaking man, though.
He is.
Unlike one of the strongest male fields, wouldn't you say, Sevan?
It's a deep field, but it's at the top. It wasn't that strong.
I wrote some nasty shit about some of these fields. Oh, Brian, something you missed earlier. I think the step over burpee is just fine. It's easy to judge. It's just a different kind of stimulus, and it does nothing to to diminish the competition value.
It definitely eliminates the judging error. That's true. I think that it diminishes the fitness component of the movement. Any one of us who've done a CrossFit class, very, very well that it's a lot harder to jump over the bar than it is to step over the bar. That's why we have that scaled options for people. And when they ask in the classes, we say, if you're stepping over the bar, that's a scaled workout. So it's a uniform playing field for the athletes. Obviously, they all have the option to do either one, I guess. But I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm really kind of not a huge fan of the way CrossFit's handled the burpee in general this year. And I think it's the perfect example of why we just need a communication. These are the movement standards for this movement for this year. And once we communicate them to you once, they're not going to change at different stages of the competition.
There's got to be like a Noah's Ark sort of situation where they take the good people like the Rich Fronings and they say, all right, you're going to pave the way for the new world. And there should be a giant flood that takes out all the bullshit that's been happening the past couple of years. Like, there's no burpee like this. There's no burpee like that. And then they're going to have like Rich Froning emerge from the ark and say, this is the burpee. And then there's going to be a couple of pigeons. It's like, those are how you do double unders. That's what has to happen.
Here's the other thing about
this,
guys.
That's how you fix everything.
The hand release burpee doesn't get rid of the jump over the bar thing. There's too much.
No shit, huh, Taylor?
No, but it does ensure that the chest touches, because what Brian said about it eliminates the judging error. It eliminates it by stepping over only if you make sure the chest touches.
It eliminates
That's what they
the
do
fitness component when you
the fact that we're
slow.
And the fact that we're having this much of a conversation about how burpee should be done is so fucked.
You know what else you can do to fix the burpee thing? And when you jump over the bar, you have to still be facing the bar, and you have to have your back to it when you get over the bar as well. You can't do that turn over the bar bullshit.
Here's the thing that's most disappointing about what happened with Catrin's burpees and not getting no reps on those there is that in a lane nearby her is Sam Briggs. And at the last rep of Sam Briggs' thrusters, it's really close. You could have given her that rep, and no one on the floor knows at that point, because most of the field got time capped, how important that rep could end up being. She ended up 10 points out. That's probably another 4 points if she gets that rep, and that puts her 6 points out. I mean, and it starts getting real close, and that judge gave her a no rep. I happen to know that judge is very experienced. She's judging Sam Briggs. She loves Sam Briggs as a fan of the sport, but she was in her element. And she gave the no rep when she needed to. All the judges need to do that. Obviously, the problem is that we don't have enough judges to go around to all these semifinals every week that are that experienced and that professional to make the right call when it matters the most.
So what would you think about I didn't really get any feedback from you on that challenge rule.
JR's in the bathroom taking a shit. He's had explosive diarrhea all morning. Cut him some slack. We're not talking about his diarrhea anymore. Took up the whole first part of the show.
That's not wrong.
And he doesn't have health insurance.
He has asset insurance.
Yeah, he has asset insurance. What were you going to say, Hiller? What were we going to say? The judges are terrified because of Hiller. Let's face it. It's ripping through. I'm kind of joking, but I'm not joking.
That's kind of not really the goal. The goal is just to make it all better. It's not the effect that I intended to have. I don't want to make everyone terrified.
Do you get your invite to be a head judge at the games this year?
Might be in my junk mail.
Actually, I think they said they wanted you to do Heat 1 athletes from beginning to end, Masters division only.
Hey, work my way up from the bottom, eh?
I want to ask you guys a trivia question. What athletes have you seen out there ever who wear prescription glasses during competition?
False. The answer is false.
Brian Hernandez.
Yeah, you saw that?
Yeah, every event. I love that guy.
Yeah, he wore his glasses, and I was just like, holy cow.
Are Chandler's not prescription? Some of the ones he wears?
They are.
I'm pretty sure they are.
He doesn't wear them for every event, depending on what they're doing. I'm preting sure this guy wore them for every event.
Hey, dude, Hernandez's look like they're like glasses like you wear to school. They're not like sports glasses. They're not
Them
like
shits are Rec specs. Those things are thick.
Yeah.
Caleb, you find them yet?
Yeah, I'm pulling them up.
I want to say, because I'm always taking shots at the sponsors, I want to say that Cold Tribe tub looks dope.
It's also only like $8,000, right?
Yeah, I know, for a fucking bathtub.
But man, it looks nice. Yeah, look at this guy. Okay. This guy's the real deal. Look at him, Poindexter.
They stay on his head, too. That's crazy.
He doesn't have a strap on the back?
I don't know, but whoever the cameraman just keeps filming his cock and balls the whole time. What's going on?
Got some croquis on there.
Submission videos are funny.
All right, Hernandez, good on you. Okay, good job, Brian. I can't get anything past Brian. I also want to say one positive thing about the city of Madison. If you're considering going to the CrossFit Games this year, you need to know that the city of Madison has less crime in 5 years than the city of London has in 1 day. Madison is a good place. It also has less crime in 5 years than the city of Amsterdam has in 1 day, and 10 years for how much crime happens in South Africa in 1 hour. So, Madison's a great town.
Did Joel Gadet send you those stats?
No, I was just thinking of mean shit I could say to Europeans.
It's almost as nice as Chicago.
South Africa under the bus.
It's almost as nice as Chicago.
Yeah, and if you land in Chicago, don't worry, you'll get all the crime you need for the next 10 years.
I think O'Hare's where a lot of people come in, so from overseas.
Oh my goodness.
So get the hell out of there as soon as you can.
Can we pull up one more thing about Willie George? You guys are talking about how great he is. Brian, JR, Taylor, Hiller, does he finish top 10 at the games?
11th through 15th.
Okay. Not fucking around from JR.
I think that's fair.
Why do you say that, JR? What's he missing? Why not top 10?
I don't know if it's anything he's in particularly missing. I just think that there are at least 10 other guys that are going to finish higher.
Can't say it any better. It's an infallible argument.
When you're asking this question, that's what you need to do. You need to look at the guys who've gotten in. We have almost all of them known by now, and say, are there 10 guys in here I realistically think you can beat? And it's going to be tough. I think that 8th is the best you can do, and 8th, that would be a perfect weekend.
I just clicked through all of the semifinals, and I agree. Yep. Good call, JR.
Yeah, man. There's going to be a lot of good dudes there. Hey, okay, let me ask you this. One more trick question. You ready? James Sprague makes the last chance qualifier, goes to the CrossFit Games. Does he beat Willie George?
Depends on
James
the
would do really well
at the programming.
James would do really well at the games, I think. I think he would do better at the games than a smaller event semifinal, because I think really it's mainly the big lifts that hold him back. And when you have 11 or 12 other events that don't, I don't know. I think he would do really well. I think top 20.
JR? Hypothetically speaking, Sprague makes it?
If it was the same programmer this year, I would be confident in an answer. And since that's not the case, I am not confident.
Fair.
What would your answer be?
Get him, Taylor.
Yes, because I think he's the closest thing to a rookie Fikowski we've had since a rookie.
Wow. That hurt Brian. That's like gut punching Brian. Wow.
No. I mean, I don't think Brian would disagree, because one thing Brent did his first year that he hasn't done since is win, 3 events his first year, 4 events his first year.
Wow.
James has that kind of specific capacity on certain things that unless you're, did some rowing in college, did a lot of swimming, blah, 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 you don't have the ability to hit those home runs. But his strength is much like Brent's in his early years, where he just took big hits on that.
James Briggs, #rookie Fikowski.
Yeah, that's good. That's some good shit.
Sneaking in the last.
Brian's struggling with that. Brian's struggling with that because he loves Sprague, but he fucking Fikowski's a god. Anthony Andrews says Sevan lives in Santa Cruz. He can walk outside on the sidewalk and take a dump, and he would be celebrated. I'd be fucking elected mayor. What are you talking about?
Sevan, I just to your question there, I probably would not rate him as highly as those guys have in this games field. I would consider him more of a Jordan Troyan type that would still have those home runs. Would have
Jordan Troyan's kind of the Vanilla Ice of CrossFit, kind of a one-hit wonder.
2-hit wonder. But he finished 20th and 24th those years. So because he was able to have those really high finishes, the hits he took on strength events, of which there's not just one at the games. There's maybe one max lift, but there'll be 3 to 5 events where you have to be strong to be competitive. And I think those would drag James down this year if he was in the field.
Troyan was like even like better at swimming than Yanikoski, right? That was his whole thing. You just put him in the water and he wins. Was that his thing?
It was about what he was a D1 swimmer. So yeah, he won most of those, all of those.
Good runners.
The bar muscle up workout in the pool he won, and then he won the workout the ensuing year.
Man, it would have been cool if he did well. Hey, do any swimmers ever succeed at the games? Do we have any swimmers that like?
Yeah, Tia.
Is that what she has a swimming background? She used to just follow the black line.
The people that were swimmers previously, I was just saying she's a great swimmer. Koski is the best example, I think.
So there isn't, because
Troyan and Koski did one swimming event against each other at the games. Troyan took first, Koski took second. Troyan beat him by 2 minutes. It was a 30-minute workout.
Wow, and then Koski beat the rest of the group by 15 minutes, right? I mean,
Bridges was 25 seconds behind that. Con Porter was another 10 seconds behind that. Then it starts swinging out.
Great swimmer.
Yeah, and I don't know if you consider it swimming, but Noah was college water polo before he started.
That's not swimming.
Oh, but that's grit. That's great. That's great insight.
That's a lot of capacity. It's a lot of being in the water.
Professional treading water.
Well, and having people try to rip your balls off under the water too.
Yeah, I think 50% of being good at swimming at the games is being really comfortable in the water, because you have the mass starts. People are fucking pulling you all over the place. But
okay, so we talked about Willie George. I wanted to go over and look at it's Atlas. Can we look at Atlas Games women? That we have event 6 left today, guys, for the Atlas Games, both men and women. Then after that event, we will know everyone who's going to the CrossFit Games.
Oh,
except for the last chance.
Oh, thank you.
Sevan, when is it too early to put out the games rankings?
We'll do that show tonight, 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So something I learned, someone sent me a DM, is that Emma Lawson here has the same coach as
Jack Farlow.
And
wasn't the Buffalo or whatever? What was the name of that program?
Mammoth, maybe?
Mammoth.
Oh, yeah. I got a link to it. Hey, what do you think about this Instagram account? It has like 9 posts and he's got 2 amazing athletes. Does that mean this guy, look, 7 posts. It's Coach Josh Woolley. When they interviewed him and asked him about his coaching, he wouldn't even talk about himself or his coaching. He just refers to it as the gym. It's like he's so humble. I mean, he's crazy humble, like almost over the top.
Sounds like the complete opposite of Bergeron.
Jeez, Hiller.
Yeah, a good dude.
Is he wrong?
Oh God!
Come on,
I'm gonna have Ben Bergeron next week just to
please. He'll tell me I need to read a book,
and I'm going to schedule it when you're not watching the show and you're not in the comments. Coach Josh Woolley, this is cool, right? 2 amazing young people from a coach and a gym we've never heard of. Has anyone ever heard of this guy before Emma Lawson and Farlow pop on the scene?
No, not me.
Nope.
I think we talked about it the other day too. We'd never heard of him, right? And then we clicked on it. And I think that I also was reached out to. saying it's also Emma Lawson's coach. And then I clicked on it and thought the same thing. It's like, wow, there's only 9 posts and never heard of this guy or his program. And they're killing it.
Is there any poaching that goes on between the coaches? Do you think there's any like active poaching?
I think there's one at least, right? Come on,
I don't know.
We all know
I don't.
about that.
I don't think there. I don't. Do you ever hear of any poaching, Brian, or do you think it's just people having their feelings hurt and they just go straight there?
In these situations, from my experience, it's always just depends who you ask, and you can ask 2 people involved in the same thing from different perspectives and get very different answers. So I don't know enough about what's actually going on to make an informed comment on that.
Good, me neither. But I don't think there is, if I had to guess. Atlas Games women. Let's look at 5th place, Carolyn Prevost. She took 18th place in that last workout. I'm shocked. I guess I don't know the sport very well because I think of her as a grinder.
With one huge weakness in her game that you do know about.
The double unders?
Yes.
Man, they were. Talk to me about those double unders.
Those look so rough.
JR, did you see him? She was like cantilevering over. Her head was like folding down.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that probably only a handful of athletes we could think of have self-admittedly said were like a problem for them. And after all the work that they had already done, especially the 300 feet of handstand walking, if your shoulders are blown up, it's just really hard to stay calm. I mean, we saw Pat trip a few times, which probably only amounted for about 10 seconds, but in a workout with 400 of them, if you do them unbroken at a decent speed, you're right around 4 minutes. But if you're stopping and resting 10 to 15 seconds between sets of like 25 to 50, I mean, that just adds minutes to that movement.
In the UFC, if someone gets knocked down and then they get up, the commentators will be like, "Hey, even that person having to stand back up takes a little something off of them." Does it take a little something off of the athletes when they trip up on the double unders?
Like slowing the momentum down, you mean?
Slow the momentum, some added extra energy and get it going again, some mental fatigue.
Maybe for someone like her. But if you're a proficient double under and you miss, you're just like, shit, what the hell? And you start up again.
Okay.
That's annoying.
Okay. I feel like I get angry when it happens because I always whip myself and then I just get angry.
But then you could say it's taking something off of you, right? If you get angry.
Yeah. So I guess if you're not used to it, then sure.
And I want to bring up this factor. That last workout there is the rope climb shuttle run, right? That's number 6 that we're about to see, which I think is, and we agreed that it's really cool to have this as the last event, right?
I think
I liked it at Granite Games.
I think if it has to be an event, its best place is the final.
From every perspective except for one, which is scoring.
For Colton, okay. So
why is that, Brian?
Because this workout has had more scoring disputes than any other workouts throughout semifinals, and when people are expecting a fast turnaround with the podium announcement coming, it just puts a scoring team in a tough situation.
Well, what do the scoring disputes look like? What are they talking about? Because you can only dispute your own score, so it's the athletes who are
the problem in this workout is that if you're disputing something, usually what you're disputing is a no rep on a rope climb, and 2 things can happen. They can say that was a no rep and your score stands. That doesn't take a lot of time. But if you dispute that and it's determined that you did get a no rep on a rope climb, all right.
Speaking of disputes,
then trying to assess an appropriate penalty for that is pretty difficult.
Sam Briggs, what's up, girl?
Hi.
You in your exit interview, you're passing the baton to the great Emma McQuaid, huh?
Yep.
No time for the last chance qualifier. Just got to keep Emma on point.
Yeah, definitely. Put all my chips in Emma now.
Sam, did you know that they were going to do that tribute video to you?
No, they surprised it on me. And the hard helmet and I've got an engraved axe.
Oh, the axe was engraved. You know what I thought when I saw it? I was like, oh shit, they didn't get her any presents, so they just grabbed an axe and a helmet that was sitting around. That's totally what I thought. Oh shit, that's good. So it's engraved.
Yeah.
I've said this on my show many times before, and I mean this with absolute sincerity. Any event you've ever been on where you didn't win the Spirit of the Games award is a fucking crock of shit. Of all the years I did the behind the scenes, you were the coolest fucking cat I ever met down there. I'd put you in there with Josh Bridges. Like the two of you, it was just the athletes are it's their honor to know you and be around someone who just acted like there was no stress on them. You were dope. And I'll never forget that year where athletes were dying as they crossed the finish line in Murph, and you were helping girls with their vests off. And that was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I don't mean it in some cheese dick way. I mean, I really meant it. Like just being down there. Like I saw you in action. You're cool as shit.
Yeah, don't worry. I don't ever think that you're being cheesy, Sevan. I know that you keep it real.
Okay, good. How good is Emma McQuaid? Just fair weather fans like me had never heard of her until Wadapalooza, and now I'm starting to think about getting on the bandwagon. Should I get on?
Yeah, I've been training with her since 2016, and she's been kicking my ass since then. So it's just taken her a while to actually reproduce that onto the competition floor. Which she's finally doing now. So pretty awesome to see, because I've known that she's been capable of that since we started training in 2016.
Emma, what's your, look, Willie George got out of prison. Look at him. He just broke out. Crazy. Emma, what's your relationship like with Jacqueline?
With Jacqueline?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
You want to jump in, Jacqueline?
Were you friends before this?
Yeah, we were friends before, and I think we're still friends after.
What's it mean to you guys? Sam, maybe you should go to the bathroom. What's it mean to you guys that you guys put it to the former Games champ Sam Briggs and Catrin? Those are two crazy talented athletes, and you guys pulled it off this weekend ahead of them. Is there a rush in doing that?
No, I just think like for me, like me and Jacqueline are very similar athletes, I think. So I think just the workouts were good for us, and just all fell our way, I think.
When you go to the games, is the number 6 events here at something like this, and like 15 at the games? Does that even phase you, or is it just another day?
For me, more the better. I think it's the same for Jacqueline. So yeah, hopefully the games is 15 plus this year. It'll be good.
When will you make your Emma? When will you start making your journey to the States? Will you come soon and start prepping here?
Whenever Coach Sam wants me.
Okay, Sam, where are you living? Are you living in London, Sam?
No, Ohio.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that. So when you say you're going to become a fireman, a firewoman, you were a firewoman already in the UK, and now you're going to do it in the United States.
Yeah, that's correct. So I have my interview on Thursday for the Fire Academy. So fingers crossed.
Wow, you're not screwing around.
No.
So and when will you come, Emma? So will you come soon?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Jacqueline was talking.
Tell her not to do that again. So when will Emma come? She'll come train with you as she preps for the games now?
Yeah, like I said that I'll keep training. I'll take a week off, same as her, and then I'll keep training so that she can come out, acclimatize, and I'll push her where I can do on the workouts and get her ready for the games.
Wow, that's awesome. Good job, Emma. I'm so stoked for you, man. Great to see people like you just crushing it and showing consistency after Wadapalooza. It's really cool. Brian, do you have a question for either of them?
No, I think it was really impressive. I was impressed with all the women over there. Did either of you guys get a chance to learn anything about Elisa Fuliano? We don't know much about her.
Oh, she's here.
She is there.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi, Elisa. Excellent job this weekend.
She likes pizza.
Yeah.
Are you guys in the drug test room?
Yeah.
That was one of my questions.
So that means you've made it if you're in the drug test room. That's a good sign, right? The more you get drug tested, that means the better you are.
Mm-hmm.
Is this your first?
Elisa,
Go ahead, Brian.
I spoke to a friend of mine over in Italy. He says that you don't you have a full-time job on top of training for CrossFit.
Yes, like I'm a digital designer, so I train in my box in my gym at the evening with very a lot of people around me, and yes, so I cannot believe I did it because I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It's a sport right now where most of these women are investing their whole days and everything into training. Was this something you thought was possible this weekend, or did you completely surprise yourself?
I was hoping, but it's a big surprise. Sorry. Yeah, I was hoping, but it was a big surprise for me.
Well, it's pretty cool. And we saw another guy from Italy, Enrico, did this in Lowlands, and now you've done it here. And it's oh, he is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this is really great for you guys and for your country.
It's a great year for Italy because no one ever went to the CrossFit Games. So in 1 year, 2 of us. So it's amazing.
Pronounce your name again for me.
Sorry?
Pronounce your name again.
Elisa Fuliano.
Elisa. Wow. So this is the first. You're the first Italians to go.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Do you? I know. I guess since you weren't sure if you were going to come or not, do you know now? Are you starting to think, okay, I'm going to come to the United States in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks? How are you going to pull it off? What are the plans? What are your hopes?
I don't know yet. I still need to realize this. I don't know if I'm dreaming or not, but I will see.
Hey, Sam is so nice. You could easily squeeze in with her. Sam is so nice. Totally take advantage of Sandwich there. I'm telling you. Well, very nice to speak with you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, guys.
Pizza. You guys are don't as professional athletes, don't you guys have to like not put stuff in your mouth where you don't know where it's been? Like that could be a tainted pizza or something.
Well,
Tim Bullhat.
Everybody.
I gotta say, I'm offended by that pizza. That pizza's offensive. I'm from Chicago.
What did you say, Sam? Sorry, Andrew Hiller interrupted you again.
It's my thing.
Everybody. So apart from
thank you so much for calling in. You guys made the show. I'm really happy. Would you tell Willie to look at his DMs? I gave him my phone number. Maybe he'll call me sometime.
Okay.
All right. Awesome seeing you guys. Congratulations on all your success, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good job.
Who sent that?
Taylor, right?
Damn, Taylor, you're good. Damn.
She was, but the only reason I got that chance is because I brought to light that conspiracy that someone else sent me about her and the strength and depth programming.
Oh, and
we talked shit about it. We talked shit about it, and she DM'd me, and she was like, "Actually, that's not how it is." I was like, "Oh shit."
I had to tell him that pizza looked fucking gross.
I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out if I have a source on if Adler did all his reps.
He did. This is just an opinion, right? Because I didn't see. You can't see him doing all of them. You can't count them because the camera pans away. But you can use as much logic as possible in watching all of the reps that he's done. And it appears that he does not do 100 reps.
All right. Well, I don't blame him for it, by the way. Send Adler a link and ask
Sean Woodland that.
Damn. Catrin got beat by someone with a full-time job. Mike Haplin.
Is she the Italian Colton Mertens?
Man,
No, she's way hotter than Colton.
Brian, what do you think it is when you see someone like Koski and Catrin, potentially someone like Ben?
Great question.
Who have been the best? They've won the games, and now kind of like this guy comment, they're getting beat by people with full-time jobs. I look at it and I feel like, wow, is it a hunger thing? That's where I go.
I think in the case of all three, it's different things. I mean, I don't know what I don't know how healthy Koski is. He had surgery in the middle of the fall, it seemed like, and it seemed like a decent amount of time rehabbing from that. He came within 2 points of making it despite having surgery less than 9 months ago, and that's pretty impressive. But the fields are getting tough, and you can't have those mistakes. And if you're not 100%, it's really hard. I think in the case of Catrin, she's just hasn't improved her upper body pulling. There were 2 upper body pulling dominated workouts out of 6, and that was enough to keep her out. And when Ben Smith, I just think, Ben's not that bad. I just think the men in America have gotten to be that good that he's just slightly behind, and that's enough to keep you out.
Did you see his post where he posted on his story 2K row PR?
No.
He tested the strict Nate too, and he did a PR on that too.
Well, he posted his 2K row PR, and it was 6:47.
This is Yanikoski?
No, Ben Smith.
Oh.
That's 6:47. That's not that good.
I know. That's what I thought was pretty surprising.
I've done 6:57, and I am not that good.
You sent Catrin a link?
Yeah, is that cool?
Yeah, you do what you want. It's your show.
I got to one up Taylor. Take that fucking video down.
I swear to God, if she comes on, I'll be so fucking nice here. If one of you guys are mean to her, I'm kicking her off. Kicking you off. Okay. Can I just go through some things here that are on my list, and you guys just take shots at them? If you guys don't want to talk about it, we'll just move on to the next thing. Aaron, just much stuff. Aaron O'Donnell withdrew. How come? Do we know?
No.
Arm injury, I believe. During the lifting event.
And that's at the Atlas Games, right? That's at the Atlas Games.
Yeah, and that's if people are not familiar, that's Erin Vandendreich, who was the Italian Showdown winner in the first sanctional year. So she has been to the games, although I think she only did 1 or 2 events that year. And she was really the closest person to flirting with the bubble at the Atlas Games. The women have kind of strung themselves out in the top 5, looked pretty good. So taking her out of the conversation just kind of decreases the drama even more on the women's field up there.
So it did make a difference.
She would have gone to the last chance qualifier, I think.
Okay. I talked about the Cool Tub look cool. We talked about John Woolley. Is it Josh Woolley, CrossFit PSE, is Emma Lawson's and Jake Farlow's coaches. Paige Powers, another mayhem phenom, hard worker. She made a statement, and then we got Carone also coming out with mayhem programming, who has the largest tricep I think I've ever seen on a CrossFit Games athlete. His tricep is nuts. She said that she does 2 workouts a week that have 150 GHGs in each of them. Coming from someone like me who doesn't do any GHDs, is that a lot? Is that just crazy? I mean, I haven't done GHDs in 10 years. Sounds nuts.
Well, let's ask Taylor. Is that a lot for someone who's trying to make the CrossFit Games? Because it's a lot for all the rest of us.
I don't think that's a lot for someone who's trying to make the CrossFit Games. I think some athletes train them more than others. For me, 300 a week is probably pretty standard. But I'm also really good at GHDs. I know athletes that don't do that many, and they don't like doing them.
They're probably trained by James Fitzgerald too.
Damn.
Well, I mean, I know Fikowski doesn't like them, or at least he made an Instagram post about like, when I finish CrossFit, I'm never doing GHDs again.
Well, I think it's a pretty common thought in general that GHGs or the GHD machine is a really good training implement, but maybe not the best, or wasn't originally designed for competition.
Oh, I don't think, and it for sure wasn't originally designed for sit-ups. It's a posterior device, but I do, yeah.
I think it's one of those things you have to pay to play, and if you don't do something like 300 GHDs a week, then you're gonna pay for it in the middle of a workout where you got to do as many as they just did in a row.
Like I like Mike Kaplan, 300 lifetime. Yes. I'd like to say one more thing about Paige Powers. Ask you guys one more question about her. I'd like to nominate her workout 5 with a finish time of 16:23 as maybe one of the greatest performances we've seen in the 2022 semifinals. She took first place, 16:23. It was crazy. Any thoughts?
I could give it to you. I'd say it was up there. I need to have a quick history refresh and everything else, but totally, it was impressive.
But it only won the event by 12 seconds. So there's someone else that's pretty close.
And who was that? Yeah. Who got 12? Who?
Elena Savage.
Yeah. Okay. That's the kind of workout I need to see Tia do. Now.
Agreed.
And I would just say in general, like, obviously Emma and Paige have been dominant this weekend, but who are they beating?
Right. I understand.
So I don't want to take anything away from their performances. There have been phenomenal. But if you're trying to assess how great of a performance something they did there is all time or something like that, I think you might be.
Yeah, I mean they're
getting ahead of
competing
yourself.
against Grandma Carolyn Prevost and
They don't call her that. They call her single under Prevost.
Oh, so you know what? Speaking of which, when Taylor brought up the fact about the athletes being not as lean, I think that really is important. By the way, I was joking around about it, but the more and more I'm looking at these athletes, I think the best athletes win. I mean, no one ever wins a marathon if they're not dehydrated. The guy who finishes the marathon at the New York City Marathon every single year is dehydrated. And I think these people, part of peaking is carrying the least amount of weight you can without it hindering your performance. I mean,
for sure.
I mean, gymnastics is huge.
Wrestling, carrying the least amount of weight without it hindering your performance. The key word is without. I think.
So do you think
you need to finish the event fucking depleted? If you're going to be a champion, you finish the event depleted.
I don't know. I disagree. I think if you hear Matt Fraser talk about the way he competes, he talks about gaining weight across the weekend. But
tries to.
Well, he tries to for sure. But at the same time, he goes in as lean as he can possibly be without it hindering performance. And then across the weekend, he can afford to gain weight if it so happens that way. But he fucking tries to. I think there are a lot of athletes that when they get that feeling after an event, they're like, man, I just can't stomach this food. They don't eat. And then you have athletes like Matt that no, it doesn't fucking matter whether you can stomach the food or not. You shove it down.
Like if you're a girl and you have an extra 5 pounds on you and you expect to win that rope climb event, go fuck yourself. You're not. Like, you need to be light. You need to be light. We're 7 minutes away.
Athlete to athlete for sure.
We're 7 minutes away from Atlas Games. Let's talk about the bubble starting back up in the final event. Let's talk about that bubble. Carolyn Connors, Carolyn Prevost, and Callista Lang. 389, 369, 336. Do you guys see anything happening here? Do you see Carolyn Prevost? I mean, basically, it's hers to lose, right?
They're doing that rope climb event. And when it comes to the women, I've seen some talented women that have struggled on this. Some women who've looked really good early and not finished strong. If I'm sitting in any of the qualifying spots here, my main objective here is to know my plan and not worry about what anyone else is doing, because you can totally derail yourself if you do.
You mean basically finish and hope like someone like Caroline or Carolyn basically gets stuck looking up at the rope?
Yeah, regardless of what, I mean, if you're on the outside, you might have to take a little bit of a risk. But if you're in the inside right now, all you have to do is make sure that you finish that workout, no reps, at whatever pace you've decided with your coach, and see where it places you.
Who wins between Emma Lawson and Paige Powers? 4 points separates them.
With the legless event to go?
Yep.
Emma Lawson, I believe.
Emma Lawson.
Yep.
Hey, Brian, you any athletes on the female side that are just like going to dominate the workout off the top of your head?
No, I don't think so. I mean, for the women, they've already done Heat 1, Heat 2 is going now, and no, I don't think there's gonna be any like crazy performances here.
My cousin's very wild this weekend. She goes 6th, 10th, and then almost last 5th.
Your cousin.
Yeah.
Is that really your cousin?
No,
it's not. But she's got the same last name, and I hear her name all weekend. But she's got a 6th, a 10th, and then basically last, and then another 5th, and she's in 13th.
Let's cruise over to the men. Jeffrey Adler, Patrick Vellner, 4 points apart. That's going to be fun to watch. Who's going to win the final event between those two, Jeffrey and Mr. Vellner?
Mr. Vellner.
I'll take Pat on that one.
Okay. Does Vigneault stay in? Is he going to the CrossFit Games? He's in 4th place with 388 points.
Yeah, he's 48 points ahead of Joelle. Joelle's got another 13 on Austin Spencer. But the guy to watch is Hiller?
Connor Duddy.
Why?
Duddy,
he got
hell yeah.
For him. This is a good
Ryan is on the Connor Duddy train finally. I've been saying his name at the end of every episode for this whole week.
So if Connor Duddy finishes 5 places ahead of Joelle, we got a problem.
5 places is 20 points, or depending on where it is on the leaderboard. Yeah, it's not a problem. This is a good problem. The guy in 8th place, Jeremy Vigneault, is also one of the tallest guys in the field. Tall guys have generally done well in this workout. He's only 5 points behind Duddy. I would say and then there's a guy in 10th, Boulanger. He'll be in the last heat. I don't think he's relevant for the game spot, but he is a guy who could mess some stuff up for someone who doesn't need those points being taken off the board.
When I was a kid, I used to eat at a place called Boulangerie. Boulangerie. It was a chain that sold like croissants.
Boulangerie? What do they sell on the back?
You know what they sell in the back. Boulangerie.
Oh yeah. All right, Taylor. What happened to Cedric LaPointe?
Oh, in that last workout, or what happened to him overall?
Yeah. No. What happened? Oh, I guess both. Because that last workout's not something where I would have figured he would have done as poorly as he did. Did he do what you thought he was going to do? Was he kind of exploded?
That's
what you were saying. He kind of sees red and then he just doesn't perform anymore.
That's what Pat was saying. I was saying I think that he does some really crazy things on Instagram, and he does some really crazy things in online competitions, and that's really all I know about him. I think anytime you see 100 GHDs in a workout, you're going to and they're straight through, especially in the middle of a chipper, you're going to expose people who are.
This is one of those things where I didn't actually get to watch most of this event because there was so much happening across the world at that time. But 200 wall balls in this workout. He got a ton of no reps on thrusters last year in the first event at West Coast Classic. And if you start getting in a situation where you're getting no reps for whatever on the wall balls, and those start adding up, and already keep in mind what Taylor says, how maybe his head, or Pat says that maybe his head can be a problem for him sometimes. And we probably didn't have enough footage to see whether something like that was a problem, but just knowing some of the things in the past, it's possible something like that happened too.
Should also go look at that picture that we sent to the group chat of his knee sleeves during the lift.
John Clark, what evidence do we have that Catrin's done well online?
This is the evidence.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
Tinfoil hat time.
Hey, just real quick.
That's what I was gonna say.
I got a quick question. I thought this event 6 was supposed to start at 12:50, and I'm watching it right now. It's already started.
You might be looking at the final heats or the men's event, because this is women's heat 2 is going to end. Then they'll probably have men's heat 1, men's heat 2. Hopefully they'll do women's heat 1 and then men's heat 1 to finish it.
Okay, just so you guys know, our next show is scheduled for 2:40. There's no way we're waiting that long. This shit's going to be over probably by 1:40.
That's not true. They have to do 4 more heats, and they're 11-minute heats each with reset time in between. So it's probably going to be an hour. And then they might take, there might be time if there's any scoring disputes, et cetera. So
an hour would be perfect, 1:50. Like I said, 1 hour sooner.
Oh, excellent.
Like I said.
Listen to Brian.
The one thing is some of these events today have had these big gaps. Like there's no real reason for it. They just have like 10 or 20 minutes off. So just tell them you'll be back when the competition ends.
Yeah, that's true. Just so you guys know, they keep running these L1 commercials. I highly recommend everyone take their level 1. There is unfortunately a commercial that comes out of Australia with Kate and some redheaded guy on there, and they keep referring to CrossFit as a platform. CrossFit is not a platform.
I have a question, and I meant to ask this on the last show.
Yes, please.
It's regards this. For some reason, I always remember hearing CrossFit Inc., and now it's an LLC.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
When Greg sold the company, they changed it.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
It's okay. Fair. Good question. And I saw one of you said you're a pediatric cardiologist and you don't understand how healthcare used to be free. Well, what's your question?
I was wondering if you saw that.
Like, you speak English? I do. I'm open. Tell me.
Where the fuck did Brian go? I just
realized he wasn't here anymore. Mentioned the L1, he bailed. He wants a job with CrossFit. He's got to thread the needle.
Yeah, he doesn't want to promote the L1.
He's like you. He wants a job with CrossFit. He thinks it's good. It's going to be fun over there.
We're taking very different routes.
Biba, keep up the great work. We love you on this show. We'll see you guys in an hour or so. Bye.